Hey guys, welcome back to another Muay Thai 101 demonstration. The goal for this, whether it was boxing 101, Muay Thai 101, kickboxing 101, or self-defense 101, was to really expose you guys to the fundamentals of each of those disciplines. One thing that I really enjoyed making, as well as I think had a good reception, was the how-tos. I haven't gotten to all the how-tos, but for instance, we're going over how to jab, how to throw a cross, I believe how to throw a hook, how to throw an overhand, as well as how to throw body shots. So that's what the 101 is referring to in terms of the overarching class is intro to striking, intro to self defense. But the 101s is all about what is a punch, what is a jab, how do I throw a jab. Then the intermediate, like the 201, was how do I land the jab. For a lot of people, you'll find yourself somewhere between that 101 and 201 range. I want to give you guys some I want to give you guys some additional resources to help out with that 101 phase, which will be some tips, some drills, some techniques to really refine your progression. That way, you're ready to go to that next step. Starting with strikes such as jabs, crosses, hooks, or body shots. One thing I want everyone to be mindful of is movement. So, if you are in a position where you've been training for a little while, so you know how to stand, you know how to throw punches, you know how to drop your level a little bit, throw body shots, you even know how to throw some kicks. That's your discipline. What you should then know how to do, or at least begin to learn how to do, is how do I move? Like, how do I get from here to maybe here, or from here to maybe here, over here, or of course backwards, without doing anything that a fighter would not do. So the reason I say it like that is because rules are meant to be broken. So sometimes you'll see the fighters, you do cross up. Fundamentally speaking, you don't want to, but there is a reason to do everything. So the first thing I want to address is if you are moving and you want to add strikes to it, you have to identify your lead leg, so one in front, to your rear leg, the one behind. Whenever you're going forward, you need to move your lead leg first, and then bring your rear leg. I'm pushing for my rear, stepping my lead, then I can bring that rear foot back. I'm going backwards, I'm pushing my lead, stepping my back foot, and then I'm readjusting like so. The main idea is that I stay in that stance. And this is going to prevent me from crossing my feet, which is what we saw. If you're going left or right, so if I go left, push off your right, step your left, stay in that stance. If you're going to your right, push off your left, step your right, and then stay in that stance. I want to show you guys a quick example of when that is not the case, just so that you see it. So again, 101, you never cross your feet. As someone who switches stances, though, the reason I find it so important to tell you guys you can do what you like to do is because of this. If I want to switch my stance, I immediately cross my feet and I go from orthodox to southpaw. One caveat to this is you don't want to do it right in front of someone. So like we were boxing, and I was at a heavy bag range, a punching range. I wouldn't want to just step and turn, generally speaking. But one reason to cross your feet would be that if you're ever going to go to southpaw, you will cross your feet and step the opposite foot forward. Where this applies for people who aren't just switch stance fighters. So like for me, I move around. Sometimes I'll switch my stance. Now I'm here. Sometimes I'll switch my stance. Now here. But at the same time, even if you're not like a switch stancer, sometimes you want to enter the clinch when you cross your feet. So you'll cross your feet and enter with your right hand, but you want this to be forward. So even though the fundamental rule is never cross your feet, remember that there is a purpose, there is a reason, there is different ideologies of why you would break a rule moving forward in that process. One way to work on this would be if you're at a heavy bag or you had a partner, if I start within arm's reach, so which means I can touch this. Now, quick little pointer for people. Arm's reach, if you notice on my arm is bent, does mean a little bit closer than you might think. So my boxing range is right here. My kicking range is right here. If I'm boxing with someone, my arms are bent because if I was throwing a full power strike, it will go all the way through, all the way through. Versus if I'm just tapping, if I'm just being busy, this is what it'll look like. One step further back to identify that would be my kicking up. So these strikes, in terms of punches, aren't going to be as powerful. But what it allows me to do is get at the very end of my boxing range. Oh, and also be at the range where I can land kicks safely. So identify your range. If you want to work on movement, you have a partner or a hoodie bag. Once you know your range, take a step back from that range. So now I'm completely out of range. And what I want to try to identify is, can I push off my back foot, land within my range, and then land a strike? So at first you might just come in, come out, come in, settle down, maybe land some strikes, then come out. Um, then you can try to time actually throwing strikes while you're doing it. But there's progressions to this. So first is, okay, can I figure out how much I need to move? Well, this is how much I need to move. Now I'm in my boxing range. Can I figure out if I wanted to land a kick, how to move slightly less? Now I'm in my kicking range. Once you get that down, you can start really making it a drill. So I want to shoot in, land a jab. What makes that a drill is, you notice I pushed, landed, and timed my jab at a relative all at the same time. Like, no one's perfect. I'm also talking to a camera, but you'll see that this is essentially a pushing, landing, and extending all at once, or at least in the same type of timing. Like, it's a push, it's a break, then it's an extension, and you want them to be timed at the appropriate. Like, if I go too slow, it looks like that, you lose power. If you go too fast, you'll either overextend yourself or you'll miss your target. If you go at the perfect timing, you'll feel it go from the ground to your target or the bag, and then you'll feel it come back. So from the ground to your target, then you'll feel it come back. Throwing across or any other strike is the same thing, but this is different. The reason most people use jabs is because this is the safest I can be. I can jab and literally move around all day with this one little step in and out. When you're ready, you want to add your cross to that. So you want to push forward. I'm trying to land a cross and I'm lined up. The cross is going to be over to your right side. So push forward and to your left. Also, that way you can actually land that cross. If you notice, I'm actually in the same spot. I will be for that jab. Just slightly to the left, and then I turn. The same way you would throw a regular cross if you were in place. But I came from here, boom, and landed over here. Hooks are the same thing. You just have to get a lot deeper. So if I was here and I wanted to land a hook, boom, I would have to get deeper, load it, send it out, send it out. Deeper, load, send. From here, boom, landing a load, release a load, release a load. If you notice, I'm throwing those hooks from a little far away. That's just something that, as a kickboxer, someone who throws kicks, Muay Thai, Taekwondo, you don't want to get too close to your hooks because it's not worth it to land exchange a hard hook versus being that kicking range. So if I was trying to box, I would get even deeper. Boom, I would be all the way in here. Boom, boom. But since we're kicking, I want to allow myself enough range that, let's say I wanted to come in, boom, land this hook, boom, land that kick. That's what I'm trying to do. Or even like at knee, you want to come in, hook, hook, knee, and still have a little bit of range left. That way, if they were like throwing wild elbows or a counter, you wouldn't just get caught by it. So, 101, it's all about intro to either Muay Thai, intro to self-defense, intro to kickboxing, intro to boxing. The big gist of what we were doing is how to. But now that we know how to, in terms of the basics, and we know how to punch, we know how to kick, what I now want us to do is, how do we refine our technique to a place that is not only acceptable, but exceptional? So try to build these drills into your arsenal. That way you can get better and better, and you can eventually, if you're someone who is, like a cardio guy, someone who's just practicing at home, eventually try this on someone else. That way you see what works and what doesn't. Hey, coach.